The Sokoto Caliphate. By 1804 AD, the Sokoto Caliphate was established within the region of modern-day northern Nigeria in Western Africa. The Sokoto Caliphate ultimately became the largest state in West Africa since the 16th century and was also known as the Sultanate of Sokoto. This is the same region where the Hausa kingdoms had previously been established back in 700 AD. This region, specifically between the Niger River and Lake Chad, was largely populated with the ethnic groups of the Hausa and the Fulani. Now, Islam had been present in Western Africa from the times of the Empire of Ghana and the Empire of Mali, and a combination of both Islamic and traditional West African religions were practiced. Soon, a West African Fulani Islamic scholar, known as Sheikh Usman dan Fodio, became extremely influential in the area. He was born in 1754 AD in the village of Morata, in the house city-state of Gobir, in modern-day northern Nigeria. Being extremely educated, he was well-versed in philosophy, the Islamic sciences, theology, and also wrote poetry. Sheikh Usman dan Fodio was responsible, along with many others, for the continuing expansion and adoption of Islam across the region, with hundreds of followers, and by 1803 AD was selected as a leader of the community. He had 4 wives and many children with them. At the time, a Hausa king named Sarkin Gobir Yunfa ruled the city-state of Gobir and began to exert restrictions on the teaching that Usman dan Fodio was conducting, and he was eventually exiled. Sheikh Usman dan Fodio became concerned with the practices of the ruling class of Usa leaders and wanted to ensure a pure and strict adherence to Islam was being practiced in the land. By 1804 AD, Sheikh Usman dan Fodio had firmly established the Sokoto Caliphate. Conflict between the Hausa ruling class and the followers of Usman dan Fodio escalated when they freed some captives of Sarkin Gobir Yunfa. In response to an initial attack, the Sokoto Caliphate launched a military campaign against the ruling class. The city of Sokoto became the headquarters of the Sokoto Caliphate, and the group grew from hundreds to thousands and eventually gained support from neighboring African groups. Many of the Africans within the Sokoto Caliphate were Hafiz and Hafizah, which are men and women who have memorized the entire Quran and can recite it by heart. One of the larger conflicts between the two forces took place at the Battle of Tusuntua in late 1804 AD. By 1805 AD, the Sokoto Caliphate captured the Hausa kingdom of Kibe. By 1807 AD, they had taken over the city-states of Katsina and Daura. By 1808 AD, the Sokoto Caliphate had been successful in conquering cities of Gobir and Kano. They also killed Sarkin Gobir Yunfa. The second ruler of the Sokoto Caliphate was Muhammadu Bello, who was the son of Usman dan Fodio. Muhammad Bello was also an avid historian and teacher of the Islamic sciences and increased the education of women in the kingdom. He also established Islamic courts. As we shall see, the kingdom expanded in size, eventually becoming one of the largest states in Africa and controlling over 30 territories. Under the leadership of both Sheikh Usman dan Fodio and his son Muhammad Bello, the Sokoto Caliphate continued to expand their territory. The headquarters of the Sokoto Caliphate continued to be the city of Sokoto and covered a territory from modern-day Burkina Faso in the west to modern-day northern Cameroon and modern-day southern Chad in the east. The Sokoto Caliphate became the most powerful economic and political system in the region. The leadership structured the growing empire into over 30 emirates and smaller states. For the Sokoto Caliphate, good governance and justice across the land was of the utmost importance. In one of his literary works, Sheikh Usman dan Fodio says the following: "The government of a country is the government of its king without question. If the king is a Muslim, his land is Muslim. If he is an unbeliever, his land is a land of unbelievers. In these circumstances, it is obligatory for anyone to leave it for another country." Now, the family of Sheikh Usman dan Fodio was very large and extremely well-educated and religious, being aligned to the Qadiri Sufi order. Many family members were placed in leadership positions, such as Sheikh Usman dan Fodio's brother, who was called Abdullah dan Fodio, and was the Emir of Gwandu, which was located in modern-day Nigeria, near to the Zamfara River. Abdullah dan Fodio also controlled many of the other western and southern emirates. Muhammad Bello controlled many of the eastern emirates. The 4 wives of Sheikh Usman dan Fodio were Mamuna, Aisha, Hawawu, and Hadiza. One of the most famous children of Sheikh Usman dan Fodio was one of his daughters named Nana Asmau, who became a famous writer, scholar, teacher, and was fluent in 4 languages. The Sokoto Caliphate from 1808 AD entered into a period of peace and prosperity, taking over the previously established trans-Saharan trade routes. These Africans now controlled a vast territory and the largest in Western Africa. As such, they were able to engage in large-scale agriculture, growing shea nuts, cotton, indigo, kola nuts, grain, and rice, with trade conducted using gold and cowries. Plantation villages were created near to the cities of the Sokoto Caliphate to feed their populations. The population of the Sokoto Caliphate eventually grew to some 20 million people. Emirates each managed a budget and were compelled to send only their tax surpluses to the capital. The Sokoto Caliphate continued to reign supreme in Western Africa until 1903 AD.